Welcome, my friends, to another episode of Star Citizen Ship Reviews. I am Zed of the World. Today we're going to be discussing the Vanguard. Uh, I said in my last video that I'd be doing a first impressions of the Vanguard. I want to let you know at the forefront, I dropped to get one of these. And I'll tell you why. No. The Vanguard is based off of one of my favorite World War II fighters, the P-38 Lightning. Now, I had thought originally that the F-8 Lightning was going to be more akin to the P-38 than the Vanguard was, or what it was originally called, the Bulldog. But I can see that this ship is somewhere in between a Space A-10 and a P-38, which I'm totally fine with. I love the idea of this, okay? Because the P-38 was kind of like the A-10 of its time, but in a different way, obviously. It was less for ground attack and more for escorts. And that's where I think this ship is going to shine, is in the escorting business. Now, for an escort, you're going to want the long range, at least as long as a bomber, or if not, you could fuel up and be able to go as far as possible before needing to fuel up again. And you're going to need that firepower when you have the interceptors coming in. Now, the interceptors are going to come in and they're going to be zooming fast, and this ship will not be able to turn with them. And that's not where it's going to shine. It's going to shine in the straight game. It's going to go boom and zoom, and it's going to go straight, and it's going to go fast. Now, the reason why I say that this is not going to have the maneuverability is based off of the past and what they do with the turrets. Any ship that can mount a turret on it is not going to be as maneuverable as one that doesn't, and I think that's going to be a real big factor for you guys to think about before you purchase one of these guys. Now, Vanguard, it's going to be a good escort because it's got that long range, it's got an extra turret, and I think that that people are underestimating it right now. There's a lot of controversy right now about how expensive it is and how it almost costs as much as a Retaliator. Now, there's going to be a big difference, okay? So maybe you don't want to get a Retaliator at the level that you're at. Maybe it will be as expensive as the Retaliator in the Persistent universe. We don't know. However, what we do know is that there will be a progression within the game. Now, this progression, in my opinion, goes, Aurora Mustang to 300i Avenger, to Hornet, to F-8 Lightning, to Vanguard. Or if you split off from the Hornet, it would go Hornet to Constellation to Retaliator, on up to the Idris and above that. Which means that it's kind of lying in the same area of the progression tree, if you will. And we're starting to see this tree come out now, with the Retaliator coming out, the Constellation doing that rework, getting the Starfarer going. So we're starting to see this branching of all the ship types and the ship roles. Now, the ship is not going to be able to do everything. It might have some minor cargo space, but it's a fighter. It's being advertised as a fighter. Remember that, guys. Remember that a Hornet is not going to be able to carry as much as a 300i. And that's because the Hornet is a carrier-based fighter, and you're getting rid of firepower to mount a small cargo container. So remember that. This ship might get rid of its turret to have an extra cargo container if you want to use it as a hauler. But I don't think that's where it's going to shine. I think it's going to shine in escorting, and I think it's going to shine in bounty hunting as well. If we know anything about Aegis ships right now, it's that they come with some nice bounty hunting material. um, which is good. Another reason why I think this ship is going to be good is that it might be a good idea to put it on an Idris. Um, as far as I know, the wings fold up and they become just about as wide as a Hornet does right now. And this is a very important thing to note if you're going to get one of these things and you're a part of a big org that's got one of those nice capital ships. Um, you might want to have a Vanguard with you now, instead of having, say, 3 or 4 Hornets. You have one Vanguard in there, and it takes up a nice medium slot for you, and then you have a couple of Hornets in there for you. And I think it might be a good idea to have one on board, at least ready to go, or being able to refuel on an Idris while you're doing an escort mission out there. This is kind of like a brute force type of ship here. This is a ship that you want to field if you want to look tough, and that's what it definitely excels at, is looking tough. It's got missiles, it's got torpedo bays. Whether or not they're full-size torpedo bays is still subject to question. Obviously, I don't think they're going to be able to field, say, Retaliator size torpedoes, but they might be able to field the smaller, less impactful torpedoes that have a little bit more maneuverability on them. And I think that it's worth the $250. Now, that being said, nobody's holding a gun to your head. If you don't want to get it, you don't have to. You're not going to miss out if you have to grind for a couple of days to buy one in the persistent universe. That being said, if you want the LTI, you might just have to go for it. I don't think that it would be a bad purchasing opportunity to get one of these, considering at this point they've even made the concept ready to go with the actual game design aspects now. Before, we've been having other concept ships that were coming out before they've had all of the ship designs fully fleshed out. I mean, if you think about it, every one of the original ships have had multiple do-overs. They've had to change a lot of the aspects of the ship to fit what the new design plans have gotten them. So keep that in mind. This is going to be a better fleshed out ship than most of the other ones, because it's going from concept phase, knowing where they're going to be heading with it. So just remember that. Honestly, other than that, the aesthetics of it is absolutely beautiful. You can really see the influence of the P-38. You can really see the influence of the A-10. It's an ugly yet beautiful ship. I like that. I like the fact that it's got that stealth look, yet it's also got that World War II look. And I think this is where we're going to see a lot more of the new ships headed. They're really getting down the idea of their concepts, and they're getting ready to bring out some really, really good looking ships. And we're going to see a lot more better looking ships now. But that's it for me today. As always, fly with honor, and I will see you again soon.